Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Online Smicha. You know, the world today, all the transactions, a lot of the discussions, a lot of the connections between people are done on the internet, through the internet. And this is a question that the internet has so many points, Shilas Na'alocha, Shabbos, Yom Tiv, Kinyonim, etc. But there is a younger man. There is a younger man that wrote a kuntras discussing some of the most common questions that might come up with the internet. And one of the questions, which is very interesting, is could one tap in to someone else's internet? If somebody, your neighbor, your friend nearby, storekeeper is paying for Wi-Fi, and you're sitting outside, it's reaching where you're able to sit down and tap into his internet and do what you have to do. Is that a form of Geneva or Gzela or She'ila Shalom Das, as we'll see? Well, the first thing I got to say is the discussion we're going to have, the short discussion we're going to have, is strictly intellectually, strictly al pi Torah. Because, as I did a little research, and I found out that many places, it is actually asur al pi chok. It's the law, you're not allowed to tap into somebody else's internet. Once it's the law that way, you al pi din, you can't, you have to, din de malchus or din, you're not allowed to break the law. But let's talk about al pi Torah. Al pi Torah, mitzad geneva, mitzad gezela, or any other shaila that might come up, that somebody else is paying for a service, he's paying for his internet, and you're taking some of it, you're using it. Now, just by the very fact that you're using it, is the owner, the one paying for the service, losing anything? Yes or no? Why is he losing? Because we all know that the heavier traffic there is on the internet, on your service, the slower the internet goes. If the person who's paying for a service needs the internet and needs it fast, he's paying for a certain service, by you tagging along, you're slowing down his service. So there is a loss. So how about if you're a mensch, and you know that person needs his internet, so you only tap in at nighttime when the person is sleeping. And at that point, you're not slowing down his usage. So the common answer that you'll hear people give is, listen, a man who doesn't want people to use his internet, he has a simple way around it. He puts on a password. And by putting on a password, nobody will get into it. This person obviously doesn't care, and the proof is he didn't put a password. That's the common answer, heter, you'll find. Some challenge that and say not everybody wants to put up a password on their internet because they have a lot of guests coming by, and to put up a password, it means everybody who comes by will have to tell them and put in the password. They just want to make it free, open. It should be comfortable in their house for business or whatever. It should be easy to get on. So just by the fact that he didn't put on a password doesn't give you the permission to use it. And even if he did put on the password, another heter which you hear circulating is that it's a case of zen then of zelei chaser. The person who's paying for the bill is not losing anything. Whenever he needs it, of course, as I mentioned before, the service is not being slowed down because of Mr. B's using. So it's a zen then. It's a case where one person is benefiting and the other person is not losing. And if the other person is not losing, there's nobody really here losing. Chazal tell us, for somebody to be cruel, not to carry somebody in his back and help him, is wrong. So some try to say that this is a reason why you're allowed to do it. Well, as I mentioned, even this is challenged because even though it seems to be zanan of azalei chaser, it's still she'ila shalei kedas. You're loaning something, you're using something from somebody without permission, which is an offshoot of gezela. and according to many opinions, it's prohibited. When you talk about gzela, the only time a person is responsible to pay for gzela is if he was kaina it, if he acquired it. What are you acquiring here? You never took something in your hand and made a kinyan to acquire it. And therefore, that's another loophole. Well, I'm going to discuss just for a moment or two one part of this discussion. And that is, there are certain things that we know that are not tangible. You can't hold in your hand. Chazal tell us, Koil mara v'reach ein bahem mishum ma'ila, which means, koil means voice, music, mara is sight, reach is smell. They're all from the senses that are not tangible. Uvachein, if somebody heard the nice music of the Beis HaMikdash, he didn't use the Beis HaMikdash. If somebody saw the beautiful gold and silver of the structure of the Beis HaMikdash, that's not called using the Beis HaMikdash. If somebody had hana from the smell of the Beis HaMikdash, it's not called using, because using has to be something tangible. So let's think about this internet. Could I put my finger on the thing that I'm using? It's not tangible. Just like I don't have to, in the times of the Beis HaMikdash, I didn't have to bring a carbon for using the Beis HaMikdash if I heard the beautiful song. So too, this is also something not tangible. Well, the way he puts it is, he says it could be that this is dependent on a machlokes between the Rambam and the Ravid in Hilchos Shofar. The Rambam says, Shofar hagazel shetaka boy, if somebody steals a shofar, and that's the one he uses to blow the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. So the Rambam says, yeah, it's a stolen shofar, but the mitzvah was done, yotza. Why? She'ein ha-mitzvah ela b'shmi'as hakoil. The mitzvah of Tekiyah shofar is that you should hear the sound of shofar. Hearing the shofar wasn't stolen. The shofar was stolen. She'ein ha-mitzvah ela b'shmi'as hakoil, af al pi shalei naga boy v'lo yigbiya hashemeya yotza. The ein bekoil din gezel. You cannot steal sound. You don't steal sound, and therefore it's not a mitzvah. You fulfill the mitzvah. It might not be in the best fashion, but you did the mitzvah. The Ravid, however, says, Avraham Aimer Yom Teruah Yiyeh Lechem. The Ravid says, no, this person didn't fulfill the mitzvah, because it has to be Lechem. It has to be your sound, your day of blowing shofar. And it wasn't. So some try to explain that we find also that the Maram Shif used this machlokes for a similar question. If I'm about to give a shir, and I think to myself, I really don't have anything special to say, but I read in the sefer of shir, wow, hafla of a fella, and I give that shir and I prepare it well, it's going to be great. So, am I allowed to say the shir and not mention the name of the sefer who I'm quoting, as if it's mine? That's again something not tangible. I'm stealing words of wisdom, but I'm not saying. But you can't put your finger on what I'm stealing. So the Maram Shik says that Goinev Chedushay Torah depends on this machlokes for the Rambam and the Ravid. If you hold the Rambam, like the Rambam, that voice, sound is not tangible, therefore there's no gezel, you could say a shir and not mention which sefer it came from. However, according to the Ravid, it's different. So some try to say, obviously, again, I want to conclude by saying, if you live in a city or a state where the law is you're not allowed to tap into someone's internet, that's for sure prohibited. But if you're talking about mitzvah the Torah view, there are these discussions. And if you hold like the Rambam, you didn't really steal anything because it's not tangible, and you didn't acquire the stealing, this object that you stole, there might be she'ila shalei medas, but according to the Ravid, being that it's, even though it's not tangible, still the Ravid considers gzela, and you shouldn't do it. Shikoyach, and please join us again next week.